Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday. I know I definitely starting out with a cup of coffee. Um, but this morning, I actually was going to do a totally different video, but I actually saw some fun news. So I wanted to bring you guys this news as soon as possible. And I'm also trying out this news section of our YouTube channel called Automotive News. So I know in the past, like it kind of merged together with the BTR vlogs, but I'm gonna try to separate all the news from the actual vlogs, where I'm just, talking about other things in the automotive world. So here's to our first video in the automotive news section, and this has to do with F1, Audi, Porsche, and the VW. That's right, guys. VW CEO actually announced last night or this morning, depending on where you live, that Porsche and Audi will be entering F1 come 2026, 4 years from now. Why is the announcement so early on this? Well, if you are an avid F1 fan, or if you're an avid Audi or Porsche fan, you would have already heard the news that they are exploring avenues of entering F1. It was all speculation and hearsay, but it was confirmed yesterday, like I said, or maybe this morning, depending on where you live, um, that Volkswagen as a group has decided that Audi and Porsche, both brands, will be entering F1. Here's the thing about 2026. 2026 is when F1's regulation slash rules will be changing when it comes to their power plants. So the engine rules are completely changing over, as they are going to be moving on into using synthetic fuel to reduce emissions. They're trying to stay with the current trend of trying to stay green, but at the same time, they don't want to give up the whole F1 racing and just have Formula E be the thing with their electric cars. They still want to be able to, give us the entertainment value of internal combustion engines, the crazy noises that these cars make at crazy high RPMs. And fortunately, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I'll link above, there are companies working on synthetic fuels that are going to be a lot less emissions. What's the word? That's a lot less. That will produce a lot less emission gas, right? So, so we don't have to worry about fully converting our cars to electric and things like that. And at forefront of that, Porsche is the one that's really developing and getting hard into doing research on making these synthetic fuels that are going to be just as efficient as driving electric vehicles. So it makes complete sense for Porsche to jump in at the first opportunity when they see F1 is going to be pushing synthetic fuel in their race cars. On top of that, what happens when they reset a rule or change the rule on an engine development is that it levels the playing field. So right now, Ferrari has been in F1 for ages. Mercedes been there for ages. They're one of the two engine developers for F1. So there's a lot of teams like Haas and Williams that are actually getting engines from Ferrari. I believe Williams is getting Mercedes engines, and Haas is using Ferrari engines in their cars. And the development behind it, all the R&D they get from it. There's a reason why Ferraris, Mercedes, all these name brands are usually at the top of the field. Exception is Red Bull. Red Bull has been very, very aggressive. Currently, they're partnered up with Honda, but that Honda contract is coming to an end soon as well. So, as Red Bull is not a automotive company, they have to go and figure out what they're going to do about the next step in finding the right engine manufacturer or partnership. and it seems like Porsche is going to be the one they're going to be signing with. I think this works really well for Porsche. If you think about it, Porsche doesn't have to pay the money for development when it comes to the full car. All they have to do worry about the engine side of it. Red Bull has a huge following. They're one of the most well covered teams when it comes to during the races, and also when Netflix is doing their Drive to Survive series. Red Bull is always there. It's a great way to get marketing out there without spending a ton of money. Running these F1 teams cost a lot of money. And for Volkswagen to have Porsche and Audi run a full team, it doesn't make financial sense to do so. And at the same time, for Porsche to go in and partner up with teams that are at the bottom of the field, like Haas or F1 or Williams, it doesn't make sense either. And they also still have relationships with Ferrari and Mercedes, and you know, just to have just to kind of get in the middle of it to a contractual fight of, are you going to use our engine or their engine? It's just going to get messy and most likely not going to work out in their favor. So for Porsche to work with Red Bull is huge. Not as much money as they need to spend if they were to put in a whole new team, and it's a well established team that's been proven to work. The opinion on Horner is divided among fans, but either way, like the team has done really great, has put up a great fight against Mercedes, and with the new rules basically leveling the playing field of all these engines or engine manufacturers having to work from ground up again and having the same starting point of where they need to start at and start development, it's a good time for a new manufacturer to jump into F1. Audi, it seems like they are having trouble just supplying the engine, and they will have to buy out a team in order for them to secure a place at F1. The latest we've heard is they're trying to buy out McLaren, but McLaren has denied that claim. So we don't know where this is going yet. But with Volkswagen CEO claiming that both Porsche and Audi will join F1, it looks like there's definitely some talks behind the scenes that's happening, and that they're pretty confident that Audi as a team should be able to join F1 starting 2026. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are not reading articles all the way. I mean, I've already seen people's replies on these articles saying, "Oh, Porsche's going to just slap a badge on a Honda and call it theirs." That's not how it works, folks. Porsche is going to build this from ground up. Audi's going to build their own from ground up. Um, Being that it's F1 and is very, very strict when it comes to sharing technology between manufacturers, I highly doubt Porsche and Audi are going to even share their own findings and their own tech between the two teams. So it's going to be a very interesting time to see how these teams come up. If you've been following F1 for a few years now, you've noticed that Mercedes and Red Bull pretty much have dominated. And, teams like McLaren and F1 have been midfield, and then you got Haas and Williams, AlphaTauri and all of them, just fighting for points at the end. This year has been great with Kevin Magnussen returning to F1 with Haas, and he's been doing fantastic with Haas. And I think with 2026 resetting everything back to zero and having all the manufacturers restart from the beginning, we might actually see a change in regime when it comes to who's going to be at the top of the field and who's going to be down in the middle. So I think this change is going to bring about more action, more dynamics when it comes to F1 racing. And as more news comes by, I will definitely make more videos upon this. If you have never seen F1 before, I really advise you do. A great way in would be to watch the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. It will pretty much get your foot in the door so that who's who and what's what. The little rules that they'll tell you and things like that, and the drama behind it. The drama behind it is almost more fun than the actual race itself. So yeah, that's it for my video today. I wish I could show you some F1 footages, but F1 is really strict on putting their own footages in YouTube videos, and copyright gets really crazy. So I've tried it. They don't want me to do it, so I have to edit all that part out. But if you have a chance, take a look at like a 2021 highlight of F1 on YouTube. It was a great highlight. It was very controversial, to the very last lap of the last race. So it's fun, guys. Like I said, if you're not an F1 fan, I would advise that you try it out because it is the greatest motorsports of the world. And there's a reason behind that. All right. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one.